Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've posted a video here on my YouTube retro video game channel. Just wanted to come back and say, start seeing some more videos here pretty soon. I did stop my Video Games Monthly and Retro Game Treasure subscription at the start of the year, but getting ready to restart the Video Games Monthly subscriptions. We'll have some unboxings soon. But today I wanted to go over some of the games I have in my collection currently. And today we're going to cover the NES. I have far more NES games than any other system, except for maybe the Sega Genesis. You can see columns playing here on my Retron 3. But I'm going to go over the NES games I have in my collection and just show you what all I've got. First off, we have WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Now this game does not work perfectly with a Retron 3. The color palette is off. There's some sound issues as well, but it is playable. This is probably the best WWF game released for the NES, much better than the first WrestleMania game. Great roster selection, great variety of matches as well for WWF WrestleMania Challenge. Most of these games I'm going to show you I did get through either Retro Game Treasure or Video Games Monthly. Some of them I did get from lots through eBay or Facebook Marketplace. Next is Arch Rivals, which was kind of the precursor to NBA Jam. It's okay. The bloom really came off the rose when NBA Jam was released, and it's kind of dated when you compare it to NBA Jam. It's just not nowhere near as good a game, of course, as NBA Jam. But I remember playing it in the arcade way back before I played on the NES, and it was a pretty solid game. Next is Bases Loaded 2, the second season. Very common game you can find. I've seen it for sale in game shops for like 99 cents. I mean, it's easy to get, cheap. Pretty solid baseball game is Bases Loaded 2, the second season. Next is Gyrus, which is a pretty solid space shooter. Nothing great, but it's not a bad game at all. I believe I got this through a lot I purchased on eBay. I don't think it came from one of the subscription services. Next we have the classic arcade game Q*bert. Another solid game, a little difficult to control with the NES. Really needs a joystick. But if you're an 80s kid, you remember the Q*bert cartoon series, which was something I watched, as well as the Pac-Man cartoon. Q*bert was all over the place. They was trying to make him into the next Pac-Man. He never got that big, but he was pretty popular back in the 80s. And Q*bert's a pretty good game, just a little difficult to control on the NES. Next we have Winter Games. It's not that good, to be honest with you. It's a former rental. Yeah, it's not a very good game at all. That's all I can say for it. Much better skiing, sledding games out there than that. Next is Tecmo NBA Basketball, probably the best NBA game on the NES. You have all the teams from, I believe it's the 1991 season, make substitutions, play a whole season. Very good game. Highly recommend this. The same game was released on the Super Nintendo as well. Okay. Next we have Paperboy. I believe everybody knows about this game. Another classic game. There was a sequel as well, released for the NES, Paperboy 2, but I only have the first Paperboy. Next we have Super Spike V-Ball, which was a pretty good volleyball game. This game was also released as a 2-pack with a soccer game on the same cartridge. I only have this version of Super Spike V-Ball. I don't have the 2-pack with the soccer game. Can't remember what the name of the soccer game was right off the top of my head. Next we have Vegas Dream, which is a gambling game. Blackjack, poker, roulette, slot machines. It has a story mode in it as well, which does add to the gameplay of Vegas Dream. Makes it a little better than just your standard casino type game. Next we have Star Tropics, which was a pretty big title when it was released. I believe this came in one of my subscription boxes, and it's a pretty big get. Star Tropics. Another one I do know I got in a subscription box was Ninja Gaiden 2. Very good game. Can be difficult, but the Ninja Gaiden series, classic series from Tecmo. Big fan of Ninja Gaiden 2. Next we have Airwolf, which is based on the hit TV series. Not a bad game. For an acclaimed game, I know they have kind of a bad reputation with some of their releases. This is a pretty solid game. They also put out a Knight Rider game, which I don't have around the same time. Next we have the classic black box title Golf. 18 holes of golf. Pretty simple and rudimentary game, but fun nonetheless. Another classic early NES title is Rad Racer. Of course, this came with a pair of 3D glasses. And I had played 3D back in my youth. I don't have 3D glasses, and it's still a solid racer even without 3D effect. Next, we have another common game, Top Gun. You can find this everywhere for just a few bucks. Difficult to land the fighter jets on the aircraft carrier. There was a sequel to this. I've never played the sequel. It's also a pretty common game to find. Next, we have The Adventures of Bayou Billy, another game with some difficulty. Solid game from Konami. Like I said, there is a high difficulty factor in some levels, but it's still a pretty good game. Next, we have Legacy of the Wizard. When I initially got this, I thought it was an RPG, but it is not really. It's more of a platformer. Pretty good game. Enjoyed playing it. Next, RBI Baseball. I had this game as a kid growing up. I had the black cartridge. This is the gray cartridge version. Has several Major League Baseball rosters from like the 1988 season, I believe. It was one game my dad would actually play with me on the NES, so it has a lot of nostalgic value for me. I always enjoyed RBI Baseball, probably my favorite baseball game on the NES. Next is Monopoly. It's Monopoly, and I like playing Monopoly, and I have enjoyed playing this too from time to time. It's fun to put in, play a game here and there. Next, we have a horrible game, Total Recall. It's an acclaimed game. Yeah, it's not very good at all. It's supposedly based on the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I've not made it very far in the game. It's difficult. Gameplay's not very good. Nice label. It matches the movie poster, but it's not a good game at all. It came in a lot as well, I believe. Next, we have Defender of the Crown, which was originally a PC game. This game has pretty solid graphics for the NES. You have different gameplay elements in it. You go around and try to earn money and conquer castles. You can get repetitive after a while, but if you enjoy the medieval times, and you might get a lot of enjoyment out of Defender of the Crown. I like it pretty good. It can get repetitive after a while, though. Next, we have Infiltrator. Story on this is I won this on an auction from eBay for $2.99 with no shipping because nobody else bid on it. It's not a very good game. It's got two different gameplay elements. One is the helicopter when you're flying in and around. That's horrible. There's also a Metal Gear type sneak around the base on foot part of the game, which is better than the helicopter flight simulation part. Still, overall, it's not a very good game at all. Next we have Roger Clemens Baseball. Solid baseball title, really only stands out because of the Roger Clemens endorsement. Speaking of the WrestleMania, we had WrestleMania Challenge earlier. Now we have the original WrestleMania. Not a good wrestling game at all. The first WWF licensed game for the NES, which does make it a historic article in that sense, but terrible gameplay, disappointing graphics. It's not a good wrestling game. Much better, many more better wrestling games out there for the NES. Next we have Bigfoot, which is a guilty pleasure of mine. I enjoy this game quite a bit. It is a thumb wrecker. You will sore thumbs when you're done playing this. But it is a fun title, and something I played as a kid and something I still enjoy playing now. Next we have Gauntlet 2. I had the original Gauntlet growing up. Gauntlet 2 is basically the same thing. It's the there's not a lot of difference between Gauntlet and Gauntlet 2. It's classic though. Enjoy it quite a bit. Next, Friday 13th. LJN put out a couple of horror movie games about this at the same time. He put out Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday 13th. Friday 13th is the better of the two. Okay, nothing great, but it's not a terrible game at all. Next, I have some games I purchased through a lot and I've had some issues with. First, this is an empty case for the Three Stooges because there's some plastic broke inside and the board does not. It fits in there, but when you insert it into your system, it doesn't make proper connection and you cannot play the game. So to play the game, I have to insert it without the cartridge. I'm thinking about maybe getting a replacement. You can get a replacement cartridge shells. Thinking about doing that here for Three Stooges and maybe getting in a replacement label as well. Because this cartridge, like I said, it's broke on the inside. Cannot insert the game and have it play like that. Next we have another similar situation, Dr. Mario. It is also broke on the inside, and I'll show you. You've got a plastic piece broke, and the game will not fit in there properly, and to play it I have to insert just the circuit board in there, so I'm thinking about also getting a replacement shelf for Dr. Mario and replacement label as well. And finally, another little curious thing. Sesame Street 1, 2, 3 does not work. It looks to me like it got wet at one time. This game, I've cleaned it with Bright Boy, I've took it apart and cleaned it, I've cleaned it with alcohol. The best I can get is some colors and some wavy lines. There is on the board, this is not the board for it, this is Three Stooges. There's some massive corrosion in certain areas. The game I do not believe is salvageable. But I do not have the Sesame Street board in this. I have this one, Jeopardy, because this, like Three Stooges and Dr. Mario, has a broken plastic piece inside. The board does not fit in correctly, and you cannot play the game inserting it using the cartridge. So I moved Jeopardy over to this, and I can play Jeopardy on this. I don't know if I'm going to get a replacement for Jeopardy. I like Jeopardy and all, but to me it's not as special of a game to me as Three Stooges and Dr. Mario. I may as well get a replacement cartridge and label for this. Like I said, this as Jeopardy is actually in Sesame Street 1, 2, 3. Sesame Street 1, 2, 3 is not going to be salvageable. It's just too damaged. Not a big loss, but I hate seeing NES game go out like that. So thank you for watching. That's my NES collection currently. Hoping to add a whole lot more soon. And I'll be coming back with some videos very, very soon of some of the other game collections I have, such as Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, and Famicom. Thank you for watching.